Hello, we are back to discuss the ADDIE model, which is again a part of the HRD and L&D function of the PHR and SPHR exam. Of note, the ADDIE model is an instructional design model. So please keep that part in the back of your head. This is an instructional design model. Let's jump right in. A stands for analyze or assess or assessment. I have seen it quite a few ways. Just a quick little tip or trick. When you're taking your exam and they ask you what the first step of anything is, it's generally going to be analyze or assess or perform some type of assessment. So here during this phase, we're analyzing the need. We want to know, is there a need? Why is there a need? How will we fulfill the need? Anything of that nature. So the first thing you're asking is, what are your training objectives and goals? And in reality, this needs to be aligned with what your the company's objectives or goals or strategic plans are. Here we're looking into the who, what, whens, and whys of training. So who are the participants? So who is this training going to reach? And what are their needs? What are the needs of the participants in this training? And what skills do the employees already possess? So what are they bringing to the table when they come to this training? Okay. So here again, I want to mention that you want to make sure that your training is in line with the company's strategic goals or plans or objectives, and that your training is fulfilling those needs. Also, what's the cost benefit analysis? Like, let's be honest, you want to make sure that your training is actually going to be fulfilling this need, especially depending on how much your training is going to cost. Let's move to the D, which is the design phase in the ADDIE model. Now, I know you may be itching to get out there and create. There is some stuff you've got to do before you start creating, and that happens in the design phase, which you're creating your design plan. It's very common to see people building their storyboards during this phase. So you are identifying the resources or materials that are going to be needed. You are determining how this training will be executed. Will it be a webinar? Will this be a one-on-one training? Will this be facilitator-led, in-basket exercise, lunch and learn? This is all of the things that you're figuring out during the design phase. Will you need media? Where will this media come from? Will you create it? Will you grab it from the internet? Are there copyright issues with that? Are you outsourcing it to your marketing department to put together any of the media? All of this has to be determined during the design phase. And then we're going to move to the next D, which is the develop or development phase. This is what you've been waiting for, right? You're going to be creating. You are taking your plan from your design phase and you're bringing it to life. You're doing your manuals, you're doing your facilitator guides, you are using your PowerPoints and recordings, and so you're actually bringing it all to life. In addition to creating during the development phase, you're going to be testing during this phase as well, because as we'll see, our next phase is implementing. So during development, you need to test out your training. Is it reliable? Is it valid? Again, is it measuring up to the goals that we set during the analyze phase? Are there any biases that we need to review? So during the testing, after you've used your pilot testing and your focus groups, it gives you the chance to take feedback that you've gotten and review it and revise your training if necessary. So again, development is about creating, but testing as well. So moving to the I, we're now talking about implement and implementation. So now we are getting ready to really execute this. So now we're in the delivery phase of how this is going to actually be delivered. So we talked about that in development. You were developing your materials and your manuals. Now we have to prep these materials and these manuals. We're putting them into print, or we're putting them, if they're going to be sent digitally, we're making sure that the files are going to be compatible if it's a Mac or if it's a Windows or anything like that. If this is going to be housed on your LMS, so your learning management system, you are working on getting it uploaded into that system. When you get it uploaded, you're on the back end of it, right? You've got to flip to the front end and make sure that what your participants are seeing is what they should be seeing and when they should be seeing it and how they should be seeing it. Okay. Is this meant to be used on a computer, a tablet, a phone? All of these things you're thinking about when you're implementing. Even with your LMS, you're assigning the training to people. You're checking its tracking capabilities, all of those things. If you're just the instructional designer, but someone else is going to be delivering and or facilitating your training, you're making sure that those people are prepped. They have their guides and they understand the flow and the tone, all of those types of things. You've got to be getting those people prepped to execute your training. You're notifying any enrollees or any participants of the date, the time, the location. If they have to sign up themselves, or if you are signing them up, you have to get with your participants and let them know due dates, all of those types of things during the implementation phase. Lastly, the E, we're going to be evaluating our training now. Now's the time for us to do some cashing of the checks that we wrote during the analyze phase. So here we're measuring how well our training is achieving the goals and objectives that we outlined during the analyze phase. And we're going to turn our attention to Kirkpatrick for a second, where he has the 4 levels of evaluation when it comes to training. So let's look at what Kirkpatrick has to say. So there are 4 levels. The first level is reaction. And this is exactly how it sounds. We're evaluating the training participants directly after the training. This typically happens with some type of survey that you ask them to complete. And you are evaluating the reaction to quite a bit of the components. The training itself, the venue, where they're trainers or facilitators, then they're going to be evaluating those people, and you're going to be looking for their reactions to those individuals. So again, the first level is reaction. It sounds exactly, I mean, it's literally spelled out. How are your participants reacting to the training and all parts of the training? Next, we have learning. Again, with Kirkpatrick's model, I will tell you, if you understand the definition of the words reaction, learning, behavior, results, then you're going to be fine. With learning, you are assessing how much information the participants actually absorbed in the actual training. Okay. Third, behavior. Now we want to do some like pre-test, post-test here, because we're trying to understand if there's been a shift in behavior. But is that shift in behavior due to the application of your training? So is it due to your training that their behavior has shifted? So again, you're looking at their actions, all of that prior to the training, and then you're looking at it again after the training. That typically happens 60 or 90 days or such after the training, because we've got to see a shift in the behavior, and a shift in behavior takes time. Last but not least, results. Again, did we achieve the results, goals, or objectives that we set out to achieve? Have we seen some influence that, have we seen a level of influence that our training has provided? Again, hence the check cashing. What parts of our business have been impacted positively, hopefully, due to this training? Have we seen higher customer satisfaction scores? We're really checking to see the change in results in our business outcomes. Okay. Remember, as HR people, we've got to be proving our value in our organization. Okay. You've got to be asking yourself, how are we creating value for our company, and how are we maximizing the wealth of our organization? That is key in everything you do, is aligning it with the business goals and objectives, and then making sure that it can be that we can look at the results, and what we're doing is positively affecting the results of our company. Now, how about we look at a couple sample questions? I know you guys have kind of been dying to see some of these questions. Let's see. Sample question number 1. The ADDIE model is an acronym that describes the 5 elements of blank design. Is it A, interactive, B, development, C, instructional, or D, talent management? At this point in time, I would suggest maybe pause the video if you need a few minutes to think about this, just for sake of keeping the video not super long. I'm gonna jump right in here and tell you that the answer to this question is C, instructional design. Again, we talked about that earlier in the video where I was saying, hey, keep in mind that this is an instructional design model. That is what ADDIE is. Okay, next question. What does the acronym ADDIE stand for? A, assessment, designer, develop, instruct, evaluate. B, analysis, design, development, implementation, evaluation. C, analytical, design, deconstruct, include, employees. D, assess, devise, develop, include, engage. Again, feel free to pause the video at this point in time if you need a few minutes to choose and make your selections of your answers. The answer to this question is B. Analyze, design, development, implementation, evaluation. We talked about this earlier, that you'll see sometimes the A could say analyze, assessment, analysis. So you want to be familiar with those different versions of the A. Design, development, develop, implement, implementation, evaluate, evaluation. So the answer to this question is B. Last question. During which phase of the ADDIE model are you concerned with the venue, refreshments, selected trainers? Is it A, implementation, B, evaluation, C, inclusion, D, engagement? Again, feel free to pause the video if you need a few minutes. The answer to this question is A, implementation. When you're implementing your training, you want to make sure that you've checked all of these things, and it's really going to be mode specific. So if the training is not an in-person training, do you care about the refreshments? Probably not. That plays a part if the training is going to be an all-day training. If it's 8 to 5. Are you providing food for the participants? Do they provide it for themselves? Do you not even address food? Do you just power through fully 8 to 5 and without a lunch break? What do you think how is it going to impact your participants' level of engagement? Are they going to be happy, engaged, angry, hungry, hangry, as I like to call it as well? So during the implementation phase is when you are concerned with, again, the venue, refreshments, selected trainers, again, the mode of training. If it's a webinar, you're going to be concerned with the bandwidth of their internet, they have access to internet, they have access to computers. Depending on the actual mode of training that you use, you've got to ask yourself these questions during the implementation phase. That's all I have for you. That's all of the questions. That about wraps up the ADDIE model, and I have a few last notes here. I really do hope that you've enjoyed the time that you've spent with me and the time that you spent here at HR Notes to File, and spending time with us in general, getting you prepped for this exam. This is it's not a hard exam, but it's a tough exam. I will say that. Please subscribe. Again, leave some comments for us. Let us know what type of videos you would like to see, what type of subjects you want us to be poaching next. We included Kirkpatrick in this video. If you think that there needs to be a separate section for Kirkpatrick, let us know. Put that in the comments. For now, that's all I have for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.